guys, this is Bear Gaming and welcome back to our channel. For today's Exos Heroes 101, we are going to talk about wedge hammers, where to get them, and how to use them. So here in the air squadron, just look at the right portion of the screen and you can see the market icon. Just tap it and then choose Yorm's Exchanges. So always remember guys, that Yorm Exchanges or Yorm Shop refreshes every week. So always remember to drop by here every week and get the necessary items that you need and always come back on the next week. By the way guys, do you know that here in Exos Heroes, we can craft for a specific piece of gear with a specific main option? So with wedge hammers, this is possible. So this is where we can get the wedge hammers every week. You can see here the first item is already sold out because I already bought this a few days ago. If you're going to long press this, it says Equipment Fusion Main Option Selection Chest. So based from the name itself, it's already clear. It says here Fusion or Forging and Main Option Selection, which means we get to choose the main option or select for the main option. So just buy this. You can actually buy twice per week. And where can we see this? So go to the inventory, that's the bag icon on the upper right portion of the screen. Then here below, there's this small bar. Choose the fourth icon and look for the orange box. We are going to call this the orange box because the name is so long to pronounce or to say it every time. So I have around 11 pieces. So guys, the ratio here is 1:1. So since I have 11 pieces, that means I can get 11 pieces of wedge hammers of my choice. So if you're going to use the use button, you can see the different kinds of wedge hammers that's available. So always remember guys, the main option, there are two kinds. One is in percent and one is in whole number. So for the first one, let's say it says here wedge hammer of attack. That's in percent. The second one, it's the plus sign, which means whole number. And you can say here major obtainable spot, Yorm's Exchanges. So that's where we can get this. And the description says material used to select attack in percent as the main option when fusing equipment. So here in Exos Heroes, fusing and forging means the same. So we get to choose either attack speed. So take note guys that the attack speed comes in whole numbers and not in percent. And for critical damage and critical hit rate, that's also in percent, no whole number for this if I remember correctly. Next one is the defense. There's one in percent and one in whole number. Then for the effect hit, I remember also that this is in percent as well. And the next one is HP. There's also two kinds, one in percent and one in whole number. And the last one is effect resist. That's in percent. So, first we need to go where the forging or fusing take place. So go back to the main menu or in the air squadron. And then you can see a series of buttons just below. Choose Airship Forge. That's before torque creation. And you can see Morris here, and on the right portion of the screen you can see 4 different buttons. The first 3 is craft equipment and the fourth one is fuse equipment. So what are these 3 craft equipment? Isn't it you remember guys that we farm Holy Dragon Grounds because we get materials there for us to craft equipment. So this is where we can use those materials that are dropped. There are 3 different craft equipment buttons because for each button it represents the kind of material used here. So remember guys, 3 different dragons, that means 3 different materials. So for the first one here, you'll be able to craft gears from the breaker, fortification, or vitality set. For the second one, it's for the critical, sniper, and dash. sets. And the third one is resistance, destruction, red blood, and retaliation set. So it's up to you what kind of gear sets you're going to use for your heroes. So for the first one, let's check it. So this shows you the different items here. And also, just below, check this one. You can see a small bar and you get to choose what type of gear piece you want. So for the first one, we chose the sword icon. And base here, it's either you get to choose what type of grade of gears you want. Because when you start to play the game, you cannot get the fated gears right away. You need to start from the start, and usually you can get this one, Broken Horn of Bone Dragon. This is actually the common grade material, and this one is the magic grade. Then comes the rare grade, legendary, and then the fated version. So just the same. It's just the same for the other materials here. It's arranged from the ordinary materials to the best one. You can see it here. It's different. So it really depends the stage or grade of dragon you are battling, and that's the type of material that's dropped. So let's say in my case, I can already do stage 5 or grade 5 dragons. That's why for the Breaker, Fortification, and Vitality, I can use this Supreme Horn of Bone Dragon, because above here you can see the different materials that you currently have. And for this one, Supreme Horn of Bone Dragon, I actually have around 7,623 pieces. And if you want to craft this, so for this gear piece is actually the weapon, because you know guys, there are 6 different gear pieces for every hero. So that's the sword, helmet, armor, gloves, boots, and then there's the accessory. So that's 6 pieces, and you can craft each. So here, for the craft equipment button, you can either choose craft it by 1 time, or you can craft it 10 times. So let's make an example. So if you're going to craft this 10 times, you need around 500 materials and about 100,000 gold coins. But if you're going to craft this only one, you need about 50 material and 10,000 gold coin. So it works for every type of materials. You can either choose crafting times 10 so that it will be faster, or if you just need a few samples, you can just craft 1 each and check it. So let's make an example. So for this, we are choosing the weapon, and I'm going to choose the 10 times crafting. So there's this animation here. Morris is going to craft some gears for us, and actually the drops are RNG or random. So even though if you choose the fated type of material, the fated grade type of material, there's also a possibility that you can get rare grade weapons like this one, and also there are legendary ones. So you can see here, that's rare grade, and this one is actually legendary grade. And oh, if you see Morris doing that, that means the material, or no, not material, the gear that's going to show up is actually the fated version. So here you can see we got actually, it's something good. Or you could just press skip so that it will be finished right away. So there, you can see the buttons below. You can either enhance the equipment right away, you can either sell or disassemble this, or do the times 10 fusing again, or crafting, or just press confirm and it will lead you to that page again where you can craft. So here, I chose the disassemble or sell button. So we can check out the different gears that we got from Morris's Crafting, and actually you can sell or pick the best one and just sell or disassemble those ones that you don't like. So for me here, I'm going to disassemble. Oh wait, let's choose first. So look for those gears that you think that it's useless for you. So probably I'm going to choose this one. Press disassemble. So if you're going to disassemble, it will give you vitality fragment, fortification fragment, or breaker fragment. These fragments are based on the type of material you used earlier. So since we just used the Supreme Horn of Bone Dragon, and since it says here that we can craft either breaker, fortification, vitality equipment, so if ever you disassemble these types of gears, it will give you back fragments under the breaker, fortification, vitality. So it's the same also to the other materials. So if you're going to craft here, let's say for the corroded wing of Bone Dragon, and if it happens that you don't like the specific gears that's dropped by Morris, you can always sell or disassemble them, and it will give you fragments in return. So that's how we craft equipment. So now, how do we use the wedge hammers? So let's say we go here and craft equipments as much as we can, and at the end we need a specific gear that's not present from the crafting. So the fourth button here, it says fuse equipment. This will lead you to a small page where you can see here there's this bar below where you can choose which piece you need. So I'm going to explain something here, guys, and always take note. The first three gears here, or gear piece, is the weapon, helmet, and armor. So these first three pieces of gears, the main option is actually a whole number, if you happen to observe that. But for the next remaining three pieces, particularly the armor, the boots, and also the accessories, they can either be whole numbers or in percent. So it's up to you. But guys, my tip for you here is for the boots, gloves, and also for the accessories, it's much better if you are going to get it in percent, except for the boots, because this is why. Let's say here in the sword, if you're going to select main option, it will show attack only, and the attack is actually in whole number. So this is fixed for weapons. For helmet, the fixed main option is actually the health. That's also in whole number. So you cannot choose critical damage here. It won't work. So for armors also, the fixed main option is actually defense in whole number. So if you're going to use these crafting equipment buttons here, it's best if you get the first three, because it's easier to get this: the weapon, the helmet, and the armor. So if you get the necessary gears you need and you still lack gloves, boots, or accessories, you can go to fuse equipment, because here in fusing equipment, this is going to be specific. So the next one, which is the gloves, the main option can be either attack in percent, attack in whole number, health in percent, or in whole number. Same for defense, it's also in whole number or in percent. And there's the critical hit rate and critical damage. Now you notice that critical hit rate and critical damage is present here. So this is this what do you call this, unique main option for gloves. You cannot get critical damage and critical hit rate in any other gears, but you can just see this in the gloves. So particularly for me, if I'm going to craft gears for my DPSs or my damage dealers, I prefer to get either critical hit rate or critical damage here because this is present in the gloves only. So for the boots, the main option that you can choose is either attack speed, attack in percent or in whole number, health in percent or in whole number, and defense in percent or in whole number. And you can see attack speed is present here. So that means for boots, the unique main option for this equipment or gear is attack speed, and you cannot see this in any other gear pieces. And here, for the accessories, you can either choose also, again, in attack, whether it's in percent or in whole number, HP as well, defense, and then there's this unique main options here that's present just here in accessories, which is the effect resist and effect hit, and these both are in whole numbers. So do you get the idea, guys? If you need specific item with specific options, then fuse equipment button is really for you. And that's how I do it for me to get better gears. So again, take note, guys. I'm just going to repeat this for you to be able to get the idea and not to waste your materials. So for crafting equipment, you can get the first 3 pieces here because it's much easier to get the weapon, helmet, and armor because everything here, the main option is fixed. But for gloves, boots, and accessories, it's best if you go to the fuse equipment. So let's try one. So let's say you're going for breaker set and you need a glove. So first, you are going to select the set option. Again, we are going to do the breaker set. And let's say this is for a hero that's going to deal damage, so we need to use attacking option. And here, it shows the fragment and the type of fragment. If you're going to dismantle or disassemble breaker gears, you'll be able to get breaker fragments. So here I have around 8,236 already because if ever there are useless gears, I tend to disassemble them for me to get fragments. So if you think you have gears that are not useful, just keep on disassembling them. And then, next, we get to choose the main option. So this is where the wedge hammer comes in. So let's say we need critical damage because the hero that I'm going to use, this specific gear, is a damage dealer. So let's say I chose the critical hit rate, then press select. You can see here the wedge hammer of critical hit rate appears, but I have 0/1 because I wasn't able to choose or select the type of hammer that I needed from the orange box. So let's make an example for you guys. We're going to choose back first and go to the inventory, select the orange box, and since we need critical hit rate, right, we are going to choose the wedge hammer of critical hit rate. So there, the wedge hammer is there. Then let's go back to the air forge, fuse equipment, then choose the gloves again, and choose the type of set you want. And I want the breaker set as an example, and then I want critical hit rate, right? So there, it's 1/1. So that means we have the necessary equipment. So take note, guys, the main option can be fixed here based on what we like. So it's either in percent for the gloves, boots, and accessories, and it can be fixed or fixed in whole numbers for the weapon, helmet, and the armor. But take note, guys, the substats are RNG or random. So sometimes you need to do this a couple of times for you to get the best substats or sub options for the gear. So let's try. We are going to choose ×1 or 1 times because we only have one wedge hammer for this. and watch the cinematic hammering or forging of the gears by Morris. Sprinkling some gold dust to make it faded gray. And there we go. We have a glove that's also under in the breaker set. And we are going to long press this and check out the stats. So see, the main stat there is 11% critical hit rate, just as planned, because that's what we chose also, the Wedge Hammer of critical hit rate, and that's in percent. And you can see the 4 different substats below. That's defense, attack speed, effect resist, effect hit. And based on this, I can say that this is a good drop, or this is a good gear, because you can see here, everything is in percent. The defense, effect resist, and effect hit. Except for the attack speed, because take note guys, attack speed is always fixed with whole number. And you can see here, breaker set 0/4. That means for breaker set, you need around 4 pieces for the increased attack by 45% perk to work. And fancy gloves work with various jewels that amplifies mana. So that's the description. So that's how you use the Wedge Hammer. And actually, I'm happy that as an example, the gear that appeared there is actually really good, and I could use that for my heroes, or any of them to use that. So I hope you were able to understand how Wedge of Hammer works. So you need to have a specific set in mind that you need, and then for the first 3, the weapon, the helmet, and the armor, you can get this through here because it's much easier since the main stat there is fixed. And you can also try here as well. It really is RNG. So maybe if you want to try and get gloves or boots or even accessories using here. Okay, let's try. You can just press skip. And you can see the random gears that has dropped. There are some rare grade gears, there are also legendary grade gears, and also the fated one, which is only 1. So here, it's actually a fortification set gear, and it says here effect hit in percent, so that's good. And you can see effect resist, defense, and attack are in percent, but there's one attack there that's in whole number. So if you're going to ask my opinion, whenever I see this type of gears, it's considered 3/4 because there are 3 substats there are in percent and 1 is not, so that's 3/4. For me, I can consider this as a good gear already because I don't want to pressure myself in trying to get gears that all of the substats are all in percent. It's kind of stressful really. So sometimes when I see gears that are 3/4s, in my case, that's already okay with me. And especially the main stat there, effect hit, it's already in percent. So that means it's a pass for me. I mean, it passes for me. Not a pass, but for me, it's already good. I really hope you are able to understand this because I'm mumbling a lot of stuff here already, but you get the idea of how to craft gear. So for the first 3 buttons again, you can get the materials from Holy Dragon Ground. So keep on farming guys, do this daily. Consider Holy Dragon Grounds as part of your daily mission. Just use those levy stones and grind as many times as you can. But for Wedge Hammers, always go here for specific gears. So it's either weapons, helmets, armor, gloves, boots, or accessories. And it's either you can choose craft 1 time or craft 10 times. But I really don't use crafting 10 times because that's too much. Most of the time when I use fuse equipment, maybe the first fusion or second or third is already okay because I am able to get the type of gear that I want. So that's about it, guys. That's for Wedge Hammer. I'm still thinking what to explain, but I think I already explained everything, so I hope you're able to get it. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Also, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can see all of my other Exos Heroes content and for other games as well. If you have any suggestion, please do drop a comment because I always read them and always try my best to respond to them. And please do not forget to like my videos if you like them also. And that's it for me. I'll be seeing you again on the next video. This is Bear Gaming. Have a nice day.